So I wanted to spend a little bit of time going through this assessment with you to talk through some tips and some things to think about while you go through and show your current understanding of our astronomy unit. Okay. Before I actually jump into the assessment itself, I just want to make it very clear this is an individual assessment. You are not to work with anyone else on this assessment. If it at least looks like you have some or the exact same amount of or wording for any of these, you will be contacted, your parents will be contacted, we will figure out who copied who, and principals will be contacted as well. So just please don't mess with any of that, okay? You can see this is 8 points. You have one attempt. Remember, if for some reason something happens tech-wise and you get kicked out and it said that you submitted when you didn't really want to, send me a Schoology message so we can fix that as fast as we can. So let's jump right into this thing. Okay. So for question number one, the question is, how can astronomers determine the elements present in distant stars using the light emitted from the stars? Okay, so short answer question. Always good to start your answer with a little bit of the question in it. Okay, so make sure you do that. For this one, there's a lot of really good information in your textbook about this. We discussed it a little bit in class. Make sure you describe all of the different ways we can determine the elements present in distant stars. Taking a look at that light. Really go through each individual step, discuss it in detail so that I can completely understand if you understand this or not. Okay? So again, how can astronomers determine the elements present in distant stars using the light emitted from those stars? Okay, that's question number one. Really go through that whole entire process. Question number two, it says, most elements are produced through processes in stars. Explain what processes would produce elements lighter than iron and what processes would produce heavier elements. Okay, iron is the key there. That is probably the most important word to kind of distinguish between the processes. Okay, so my suggestion is to spend a few sentences discussing all of the different processes for lighter elements. Okay, go through them step by step. Tell me what you need to make this next thing, and then from that step, what do you need to make the next thing? All the different factors that go into making those different things. Okay, then I would hit the enter button a couple of times and then give me another couple of sentences discussing the different processes that would make elements heavier than iron. Okay, so separate them out so it's very easy for you to see if you've covered everything you need to for the lighter than iron, and then a couple spaces and then go through everything for heavier elements so that you can check, make sure you have all of those processes. Okay. So that's question number two. Question number three. This should look very familiar. All right. So what you're doing, it says the light spectrum from a star is provided below. That is the unknown sample. Okay. Unknown sample is the star. Along with the light spectra of 4 elements. So you have element 1. That's the spectra for element 1. Same for element 2, 3, and 4. Based on comparisons of these spectra, comparisons is a key word there, which 2 elements are found in the unknown sample? So I gave you a hint. There are only 2. So of the 4 elements, 2 of them are in the unknown star. So what I would do first, because that's the first question, is down here, just write the unknown sample contains element blank and element blank. Okay, that's all I need for the very first part of this question. Hit period, enter a couple times. Okay, then the next part says explain in detail your reasoning for selecting those 2 elements. So this part is a little bit more critical because you're explaining why you think those 2 elements are there. Okay, so again, go into a lot of detail, discuss how you figured out those 2 elements are in that star. Okay, and not only that, but why does that process help us understand that those elements are there? Okay, so walk me through how, but also the why. Okay, those two things are really important. Okay, now question number 4. This is the big one. Okay, so it says using the diagrams below, you have to do steps 1, 2, and 3. All right, in parentheses, it says you must write the words claim, evidence, and reasoning in your answer, and you should separate them using the space bar. Okay, I'll show you what I mean here in just a second. Okay, so step number 1, it says write a scientific claim that describes the origin of elements in our bodies. Okay, so the key word there, focus, is our bodies. Okay, and then I have a little note. It says a claim is an if, then, because statement. All right, so I'm going to help you out here. So down here, you're going to write claim. Okay, that's what I mean up here at the top. Claim. So now we need an if, then, because statement about the origin of elements in our bodies. Okay, so it says claim if our bodies are made from processes in stars, then you fill in the rest. Okay, so I've got the if, then there's the then. Okay, so you need to fill in, and then you should have a because. Okay, so if, then, because. All right, now that statement shouldn't be overly long. Okay, it's a claim. Okay, you're stating something. All right, you're not explaining, you're not going into detail, you're just stating it. Okay, which will get us to step number 2. It says use evidence to support your claim that describes the origin of elements in our bodies. It says note, evidence means that data or numbers are included in your answer. Okay, so where's the data? Where are the numbers? Okay, it's in each of these different figures. All right, so it says figure number 1, relative elemental abundance in the universe. Okay, so it's just telling you the amount of different things in our universe. Okay, now for this one there aren't necessarily any numbers, but you should be able to, based on this pie graph, estimate percentages of different things. Okay, figure number 2, it says the estimated abundance of the chemical elements in our solar system. So we go big, huge scale down to a smaller scale in our solar system. Okay, so you have the atomic number. These are the element symbols, right? So you have hydrogen, helium, oxygen, carbon, nitrogen. Okay, and then it's in a log of 10 abundance, and here's your scale. Okay, so that's your data. You've got numbers there. You can estimate, go over to the y-axis and estimate how much abundance of those things. And then figure number 3, it says elements in the human body according to mass percentage. Okay, so really big universe, down to the solar system, down to an individual person. Okay, this one is color-coded. You've got numbers in here, percentages. Okay, so after you're done writing your claim, you're going to hit the spacebar a couple of times and then do evidence. Okay, that's the E and the CER. And all you're going to do here is provide the data and the numbers that supports whatever you wrote in your claim. Okay, again, you're not explaining anything in the evidence. You're just providing the data that supports the claim. All right, so that's step number 2. Step number 3, it says write your scientific reasoning to your claim that describes the origin of elements in our bodies. Here it is. Okay, here is where you're really going to show me what you know and go through the explanation and the reasoning and all of the background. Okay, so it says note, reasoning comes from scientific background or concepts you have learned. You must explain your answer using this background. Okay, so after you're done with your evidence, you're going to hit the spacebar a couple of times and do reasoning. Okay, and then you just go. Okay, use your textbook, use your notes, use the explains, all of the explores that we've done to help you fill in your reasoning. Okay, and it all has to connect back to that claim. Okay, so as far as the amount in each of these different sections, the claim should be the shortest. Remember, it's just a statement. Evidence should be a little bit longer, okay? And the biggest part of this is your reasoning, okay? So there is the assessment, the 4 questions. My tip is to go slow. My tip is to reread when you're done. Make sure that you have explained everything in enough detail. Okay, don't leave anything to interpretation. Okay, don't think, oh, he's going to know this or he's going to know what I mean. No. Okay, you need to make sure that you are writing this in enough explanation and detail. Okay, so there it is. If you have any questions, let me know, and good luck.